right, are you Cirrus? Episode 77. Man, I might take a nap here.
We're trying to figure out what are the most flattering views on this new set. If you're listening, make sure you try to watch.
Yeah.
We both hated the old set
Couldn't stand it.
because we looked awful.
And we were told by old
Management.
you got to be at a desk.
Yeah.
And now we're not at a desk, and it's quite enjoyable. But I don't know if I should sit up.
I don't know how to, like,
Then I feel like my gut's showing.
I'm a big guy anyway, but I try to, like, how's that?
Honestly,
That keeps the gut hidden. But then look at all the legs, more legs than a bucket of chicken.
oh my goodness. A little show there. I love it. Yeah, so this is Are You Serious? New set. This is our motto for the rest of the year.
I'm with
back.
it. I'm with it.
Relax, enjoying it. But no, seriously, if you're listening to us, I know we got a lot of listeners on Spotify. Go to YouTube, check it out. We do have some Shooting the Breeze. But first, I feel like I'm not even
I know.
serious doing this, but I like it.
Yeah, I could lay down and take a nap.
I kind of feel like, so tell me about your new movie that's coming out.
Yeah, right.
You know? But first, before we talk about all the questions that we got, I think we got 4 or 5 in there, which thank you for that. Big thanks to Coley for coming on 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
We took a hiatus last week because of Tropical Storm Chantal.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we should start there.
Start with Chantal. I guess I've got one big takeaway from Chantal.
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness it wasn't late August.
Yes. Yes.
Had we had that set up in late August or early September with a little less wind shear, we could have had a quickly developing hurricane coming on shore.
And we've seen that before in years past.
Yeah.
With those homegrown systems,
Yeah.
especially August, September. There was enough wind shear with that leftover front that kind of kept it lopsided, is what we kept saying.
Yeah.
But man, the water temperatures were there.
And they did their work.
They did. They tried.
They really did their work. That 2 a.m. advisory Sunday morning came in with the intensity up to 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
And it was looking good.
And then it fell apart so quick.
And then fell apart. But of course, then led to the flooding in North Carolina. I think they ended up also with 5 tornadoes up there in North Carolina. And it just goes to show again, the impacts do not stop at the coast.
Yeah.
With tropical systems. I always like these early season systems. I call them a dry run. They're like a practice, kind of get everybody back into the mood and the swing of things and how things operate when you're dealing with a tropical system. And not only for like you, the viewers, but for even us as a team, kind of getting back into that routine and the hecticness of it all.
And I feel like too, for a team perspective.
Yeah, we kicked, you know what? I'll say it.
I mean, we know how to do it.
Yeah.
And Jenna interned with us, and Maddie B's been here, but the communication between us was fantastic.
Yeah.
I feel like too, for like a behind the scenes thing, like when those outlooks are coming out, we're basically on standby, I would say an hour before those outlooks.
Yeah.
So there's about 2 hours every 4 hours where you get to chill.
Yeah.
And then once that outlook comes out, go.
Yeah.
And you do that 2, 5, 8. You do that 6 times a day.
Yeah.
No, 8 times a day.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. But I really think we did a great job. I thought Jace
did
was
great.
a rock star.
Yeah, it was sort of his first, endeavor into covering a tropical system on this side of the business. He's chased plenty of hurricanes. But being from Arkansas, he's all about covering tornadoes. Covering a tropical system was a little bit different. He was a little bit nervous going into it. It was cute, but yeah, it did great.
Yeah, he was.
Did great.
I think his big thing was like he was so worried about the updates every 3 hours. He was like, "Oh man, this is a lot." It was like, "You've got it. You'll kill it."
Yeah.
But so Chantal. Also, we've had hurricanes, Category 1 hurricanes that haven't packed some of the wind.
It was very isolated, but yeah, once you like North Myrtle Beach,
right?
I was up there. I left here once the tornado threat ended Saturday night, early Sunday morning. I left here, and that's kind of when the core of it was coming on shore, and it was and it was cranking.
Yeah.
It was cranking.
Yeah, so 4th of July, thankfully, was okay.
That added an extra level of a little bit of stress. Not crazy, but obviously people are on vacation. Yeah. We're trying to reach them, but also here.
Yeah.
You know, it's 4th of July weekend. People don't want to work. I didn't want to work.
Yeah.
We ended up working all weekend, but it is what it is. But being a little bit short-staffed, you know, we all pulled some extra hours, but it's all right.
And I think, too, you know, like the locals understand.
Yeah.
The tropics can change any minute.
Yeah.
It's the tourists that don't. So I was really trying on Friday and even, Friday, Thursday, going into 4th of July, just saying, hey, you know, it's that time of year. You have to watch and wait.
Yeah.
If this does develop, forecast could be a little bit gloomy at times. I think for us locals, we were good. Like, okay, the 4's good. We're good.
You're right.
It can do whatever.
Yeah, do whatever. Yeah.
And we weren't going to complain with Sunday. So, one name down. Next name on the list is Dexter. So we'll focus on that or whatever our next.
The other thing I loved about Chantal was Saturday.
Okay.
With the bands. Like clockwork. It was 3 hours between each one.
And
they were
Shelf Cloud.
They were everyone was beautiful.
Yeah.
Every band was beautiful, but that's the part the weather of it. I just love that. Yeah.
It's also a good reminder too, at least for me, it's easily that first tropical system or tropical downpour, just the amount of rain.
The amount of water that can come out of the sky.
Out of a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
Like those lines were so thin.
Yeah, but boy, just dumping rain. Yeah. It was good.
So it's been that way. Unfortunately, we didn't get any cooler weather behind Chantal.
We just got even more humid. Yeah, Chantal literally just sort of brought in that envelope of tropical humidity that you get with the system, and Chantal left, but the tropical humidity is here, and it is
brutal.
Miserable.
You told me you came in for the podcast because you can't do.
I can't. The thought of putting on a suit early in the day and wearing it all day long until the newscast at night, I can't do it.
And
that's normally not like me. Normally I come into work every day in my sort of full get up. But I'm getting older. I can't deal with the heat.
I'm starting to get to the point where I question bringing like a change of clothes to leave in. Because this time of year, it's awful.
Leaving here at 6:30 in the evening after the news.
Oh, yeah.
To go get in the car, walking out in like a full suit and get in that. Oh, it's horrible.
It's like a dog's mouth outside. But how's Jamie?
Jamie's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie's good. We're kind of fired up. We're tired, which is the name of this episode, we think.
Yeah, we're tired. I think that's good.
We're tired.
Yeah.
It's the same old song and dance that blew up with Helene last year. And it is back with a vengeance, and even more so with the Texas tragedy about weather modification and HARP and cloud seeding. And this was done on purpose, and this was man-made, and it was controlled. It's insane.
Yeah. It's also insane because when we're recording this, New Mexico has now happened.
Yep.
And that same narrative is now being pushed to New Mexico.
Yep.
That same narrative I even saw on Twitter is being pushed for Chicago.
Chicago had
5 inches in 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Flash flood warnings were out, and they had some rescues. And it's to the point to where I'm not even asking for it, but it's all over Twitter, Facebook. I had a couple messages on Facebook about it. You've posted about it. The comments. I don't know who's following you.
The crazies, apparently.
But I hope they stay with you.
The crazies. The crazies.
And I don't even know if this is what it's going to be for every natural disaster. I can't. I can't.
And it's a cycle that feeds on itself. You know, so we had Texas, which again, horrific tragedy. But as I explained in my Facebook post, and this in no way takes away from it, the Texas Hill Country is called Flash Flood Alley because of how frequently and severely they get flash floods. It was a horrific combination, a holiday weekend, a lot of people by the river, storms develop in the worst possible place, and you get the worst possible outcome.
Yeah.
That in itself is bad enough, but now it's almost like the media and sharks. Like nobody's really, you hear about one shark bite on like a national level, and then suddenly every time a shark fin pops out of the water, there's a national news story about it, and it just
Sharks
grows and grows. And breaking news, there's sharks in the ocean. Individually the events aren't that big of a deal. Texas is, but New Mexico can also be perfectly explained. The area one had a devastating flash flood 2 or 3 years ago, that exact same town. Then they had a fire. Anytime it rains heavily after a wildfire where you've burned off all the brush and debris and it's dead, you're going to get flash floods. And it was, again, another unfortunate circumstance of that storm forming right over where the fire was. You get the debris flows and the mudslides and the flash floods. And now I think we're going to be in a case where anytime it rains hard somewhere, that's in the cycle. It's in the cycle now.
Yeah.
It rains hard in the summer.
Yeah.
In places.
Right. There's a shocker. As you're warmer, the atmosphere can hold more moisture.
Right.
We don't see this in the winter because there's not as much moisture in the air.
Yeah.
So now here's where I'm worried, because the tropical moisture that was left over with Barry was wrapped around. You see people like, oh, look at the spin and how did it build on the backside. Welcome to weather.
Welcome to
We've
meteorology.
had back building here in the Grand Strand.
Yeah.
4th of July, what was that, 2021?
Yeah.
2022?
Yeah. There is nothing unusual or mystical or confusing on a meteorology level about what happened in Texas.
No.
There's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
The tropical moisture from leftover systems can produce big time rain. It happens.
And I'm not even going to get into the whole little radar where they're like talking about it blips up. And I'm like, if we even just had a basic understanding of how some of these radar programs work and how some of them are just trash.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The best one that I saw, I think it was maybe last week or shortly after the Texas flood, and one of these psychos showed sort of a Gulf of Mexico radar loop and of what they called a shock wave emanating from the Gulf of Mexico, and it perfectly sort of traced the outline of the Gulf Coast states. Yeah, that's the sea breeze. That's the sea breeze. You can see it on radar here every single day, not a shock wave. Or, they'll show these sort of pulses going out from the radar site. Yeah, that's birds. That's birds.
Yeah. Well, sometimes too, I like to go down the rabbit hole when it's already on my Twitter. And I like to see like why they think, this would be human made. And it all goes back to politics. Both sides. Or foreign war.
Yeah.
Like Russia is using cloud seeding to make these natural disasters. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. And the endless comments about, well, the patents for weather modification have been around.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I can make a patent for a flying turd. It doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the patent argument, the cloud seeding argument, which yes, there are cloud seeding projects with minimal impacts, minimal effects.
I think I saw one meteorologist said the last cloud seeding flight was July 7th, before any of this. And people still are like, oh, just lying.
Yeah.
Lying to hide the truth.
Yeah.
I don't.
Everything is a cover up, is something sinister, and when in reality it's just weather. My boy Josh made a great post.
I was about to bring that up.
Very simple, but the U.S. and North America, we have literally some of the most destructive and wildest and biggest variation in weather of anywhere on the planet.
Yep.
And it always has been that way. It's always been that way. We get more tornadoes than any place else in the world. We have such a varied terrain and such incredibly varied weather across the country that, yeah, we get every single aspect, from Category 5 hurricanes to major blizzards to incredible flash floods. We just happen to be in that kind of place.
Yeah. I mean, think of our area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every region has something that defines it. Here's what's also crazy to me is we've talked about on the podcast before, weather always repeats itself. It does. If you look back at Texas, there were 5 years that I could even recall, but there were other years there that actually were higher.
The Guadalupe River there in Kerr County, Texas, as horrific as this flood was, still wasn't the highest.
Yeah.
It fell short by a couple of feet. The highest on record was 1921.
Yeah.
It happens. Yeah. It's just like saying that there's something sinister or surprising about a flash flood in the Texas Hill Country is saying, oh my God, a tropical storm hit South Carolina last week. What in the world? Oh my God, it's hot in July.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other argument then, because you're seeing a lot of cloud seeding and a lot of weather modification.
Yeah.
The other one that just drives me up a gear, and I saw a lot of meteorologists address this one, is, well, this wouldn't have happened if we wouldn't have cut the budgets.
Yeah.
And I don't care what side you're on. I'm not even going to say right or left or whatever. The National Weather Service typically rotates with 2 forecasters per shift. Across the country. That's never changed.
Yeah.
Big weather events, they would call people in. So if there were staffing cuts,
Right.
you wouldn't have more people.
Right.
Typically, like when I interned with National Weather Service in Louisville, big weather day, you had 4 to 5 forecasters. That gives you enough. In Texas, 5.
They had 5, well in place, well ahead. They are going to argue, well, the warning coordination meteorologist position was not filled. Most of us work in a place, including right here, that if one person is out, you still keep rolling. We worked here without a news director in that sort of interim, our boss, for a couple of months.
Yeah.
You keep going.
Yep.
Things happen. All of you have probably had people missing from your job, but you don't shut down.
Yeah.
You keep going.
Especially
you make it
with
work. You make it work. And it works. And it worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
And that's the thing, is it would be a different conversation and a different argument if we were to bring it up and say, well, there was no lead time. There was a flash flood watch hours in advance. The flash flood emergency was out hours in advance. Now, I think when we get into the nitty gritty of this, if we want to do a social science study of this, especially when it comes to the National Weather Service, 2 things. One, how do we effectively communicate flash flood warnings and flash flood emergencies, which I'll be honest with you, if you're ever in a flash flood emergency, probably just as impactful, if not more than a tornado warning.
Yeah, probably impacting more people.
Correct.
That's the absolute sort of top tier of a flood alert that you can get, is a flash flood emergency. We've had one in Myrtle Beach, and that was as Hurricane Matthew was making landfall. And that was to the point here, just to kind of give you an idea, where the flash flooding in Horry County and Myrtle Beach was so bad that you couldn't get anywhere. Like every road was flooded, not a couple of flowing side ditches. Every road was flooded and shut down. It's even more dramatic somewhere like the Texas Hill Country, where you have elevation and the water moves really fast. Really fast. You were mentioning sort of the social science part of it, and I think that's probably where the discussion should go, and that's probably where it's going to go internally in our community. But again, it was also just a really bad setup of circumstances. It was the 4th of July weekend. People aren't really paying attention.
Nope.
They're not paying attention. How many times have we had a flash flood watch in effect here? It doesn't really get, it doesn't perk up ears maybe like it should. Maybe there are too many being issued. Maybe there are too many flash flood warnings being issued. where people are getting kind of numb to it. There's certainly a discussion for that. I think there's also a discussion for, especially maybe somewhere like that, some sort of warning system. I don't know.
Between that and then the other thing that I think, I don't know, because let's be real. If the National Weather Service were to issue a flash flood emergency, the number one way people are going to find out about it in our community is going to be through local media. It's not going to be from the National Weather Service.
Right.
It's going to be from your EAS, your phone, your emergency alert system, or from the media. The other argument that I'm seeing, because it was a lot of lead time, but the warning went out at what, 4 a.m.?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's one of the first things you probably do when you wake up?
Right.
You look at your phone,
Yeah.
and then you usually swipe whatever's off,
Right.
and then scroll. So, could there be a way that the National Weather Service resends any? I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that should be, rather than where we are, cloud seeding. That should be more of the conversation.
Right.
And then looking into the camp, if there's any way possible, where was the official leaders,
Yeah.
that whole area.
And then maybe it's as simple as, you know what works? Weather radios.
Did we bring them back?
They've kind of fallen by the wayside, but they work. If the batteries are charged, they work when the power goes out.
Yeah.
They're going to wake you up for a flash flood emergency. They're going to wake you up for a tornado warning.
I know they still have them religiously out in the plains.
Yeah.
For that reason.
And they still work, and it's simple. And
Get the codes back out and get them ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot to come out of it. It's just sad that it's all about the conspiracy and the blame game and the finger pointing and the politics of it all, when in reality it's just a really sad story of a natural disaster.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a long, long time since I can tell you we've had that many casualties with a weather event. Long time.
And my other thought is, oh God, it's only July.
Yeah.
We've got to get through August and September and the rest of hurricane season.
Yeah, first major hurricane.
So it's been geoengineered, and the government is forming this hurricane.
Cloud seeding it in the Atlantic.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about.
And then that also leads, I put a couple of posts on Facebook this week trying to get the facts out. Does it help? Does it hurt? Because then the crazies get crazier.
Yeah.
Do we just, I don't know. I struggle with not saying anything.
It's hard when, especially, I struggled with it. We did a moment on it in the morning show. And I was like, you know what? If people are listening to me for a forecast, this is a good opportunity because, they could still chirp back if they want.
Yeah.
But at least those are the people those are our people.
Yeah.
Whereas with Facebook, you just never know. And if a couple people get on the post.
Yeah. 5,000 comments later.
Yeah. As Josh Morgerman called it, crazy pill people.
Yeah.
You get 3 or 4 crazy pill people on there, you get all.
And it
blows up.
It is off to the races, and it blows up. Yeah.
I will say it felt good with Chantal that I posted a photo from Andrew Ellswick or a video, and to see the engagement that would happen on a crazy post happened with just weather. That was nice. It wasn't
Yeah, most of mine were nice. There are a couple of crazies got in there. they crept their way in. And just, mainly just off the wall, crazy political stuff. So that's why we're tired.
Yeah. And I'm just worried. Tired and worried.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect our, well, it will, but yeah.
But it also makes you think back to a time not very long ago. Not very long ago, when we could just have a hurricane.
Yeah.
Or just have a flash flood, and the first thing people were worried about is getting donations together and money together, and not what happened, what caused it, And that wasn't long ago. That was a few years ago. You could just have I hate to say it, just a good old-fashioned natural disaster.
Yeah.
And you come together, you help your neighbor, and you send some money and some clothes or whatever they need and start rebuilding. So
here we are.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
It's July and we're tired.
We're already tired.
Any fun plans for you, real quick, before you answer that? First week in August, first long week in August.
Yeah, Hurricane Week.
Hurricane Week.
Yep.
There will be a live podcast.
Yep.
Location TBD.
Yep.
But I want to get that out there because I know some people schedule like vacations or weekends away. It'll be that Friday.
Yep. The 8th.
The 8th
of August. Yeah.
So mark
and we've got a
calendars.
couple of other podcasts we're going to have that week. That's going to be a fun week.
It'll be a fun week.
We're still ironing out the details, but yeah, it's going to be a fun week to kind of get everybody ready for the meat of hurricane season.
I was hoping I would draw this one.
There better not be any crazies in there.
There's nothing too crazy.
All right, good.
Mark is our only crazy.
Oh,
we
Mark.
love you. Tiffany, let's stay away from the topic we just had because I did like this question, and it's ironic that I saved it for this episode. This was asked months ago. What's one thing about your job that you don't love?
The crazies.
That's why I said let's throw it.
The crazies, yeah.
What's one
what
thing
we
about
just
your
talked
job
about.
that you don't love?
The crazies.
The crazies.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, everything else is great.
Yeah.
Except maybe for bad camera angles. Look at this.
God.
I know. We're gonna have to
Beached away.
work on something else because this isn't gonna.
Welcome to our new set.
This
We're gonna
isn't.
be back
We're gonna. Yeah.
with a new set.
Maybe we should just go with like a table that starts right here and just our little heads popping up. This is awful. Let us know what you think of the new set.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
The number one question I get in public, or comment I get in public is, "Wow, you're a lot skinnier than you look on TV." This is probably why.
Because of this podcast.
This is probably why. Like I said, I'm a big dude, but I don't think I'm this big.
It does not. I mean, jeez Louise. It does not make us look good.
No.
But here's the thing: we can't turn the couch
How do we?
against it and just stare, because then it looks like we're like in the living room.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Favorite thing not about the job? Crazies would be one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. The typical stuff's pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, I always say this job, Lord knows it beats working for a living.
Oh yeah.
You know?
And maybe the pattern we're in right now.
Yeah. Summers are tough.
But we've talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want
Summers
to
are tough. When it's hot, humid, sunny, chance of storms every day, you just get really bored.
Well, and it's like I can only show me so many beach
Yeah.
forecasts and pool forecasts.
Yeah. And how many times can you make a heat index of 100 sound exciting? You can't. You can't. Yeah.
And you're over here saying we hype it up crazy.
Right, yeah. All right. When will the episode be with Jamie and Andrew painting? That's from Heather.
It's a great question.
I don't know if either one of us have the patience to actually make that happen, but maybe
we could.
Yeah,
I don't know how we would do that episode, but I think it would be fun.
I do too.
How quick can you paint something?
Definitely not in a podcast. I mean, if I want to crank out a good painting, I was off Monday, and I worked off and on for about 4 hours, and ended up with a good one that I was happy about. So maybe we'll just do like one of those wine and design things.
Ooh, you know what we
I think
could
we
do?
should. What?
What if that's the episode we bring Lauren back on for?
Because she would have too much wine.
No, I'm just saying I think that would be fun. We could bully each other about our painting ideas.
Yeah.
As she walks on
Yeah.
right by.
Bye, Lauren.
See ya.
Nope, we're still
We're
doing
not
it.
done. We're still on air. But yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we could draw a tree. Paint a tree. Can you paint like one item? Do you do that? Or do you just do like, what's your painting process like? I don't know.
It's complicated. There's a couple of cosmos. There's a lot of prep work. Like you got to prep the canvas. I got to get my brushes ready. I got to mix my colors.
Where do you start?
With a picture or something I've seen out and about, or a picture I've seen, just scrolling online, I'll save it. I have a whole little folder of just pictures that I've taken, like, oh, that's kind of a cool color combo. That's kind of that may eventually work its way into a painting. And then a lot of times I end up just sort of taking elements from different things that I've seen and sort of crafting what I want a painting to look like.
So every painting, you don't like start with the sky per se, or the landscape, like. Okay. Yeah, I would suck at that.
Yeah.
That would not be me.
Yeah, but maybe some wine and design. Not like real art.
No, yeah, here we're gonna paint a parrot today.
Yeah.
I think that would.
Would be fun.
We'll get back to you soon.
Hope you're there, Heather.
Why are sunsets here more spectacular than up in the mid-Atlantic, Northeast area, DC, etc.? Mark. I don't know if I've ever known that. And I would almost say that might be a perception.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some beauties up there in the Northeast.
One of the things that makes a difference here is, compared to somewhere up there, one, it's flatter, so you see more of the sky. You know, you see more of the sky. It's, that part, once you start getting up in the Northeast, it's a little hilly. Your view to the horizon is oftentimes blocked or obstructed. We've got the ocean, so obviously any sunrise, even the ugliest, kind of gloomiest mornings, you can still get a good sunrise out over the ocean.
Yeah.
So obviously a completely unobstructed view. So that's probably one. And then I would say it's there are vibrant sunsets obviously up there, but I think you're just seeing less of the sky than you are down here.
And think about it too, like the perception of, say you're driving on 501 and you're coming over that overpass, and you can it's like the color, whereas you're down in Florence and you're surrounded by trees and it's just less coverage.
Yeah.
Another thing too, the Northeast, depending on how far north you go, one of the most cloudiest areas in all of the country.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cloud cover. Sometimes can be beautiful, but I think that might be to say, I was looking it up to make sure I didn't misspell it. Sunset WX. If you've never been on that, Mark, I would look that up. It gives you a forecast for the sunrise and sunset every day. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. So, but I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. I will say the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets are usually because our air is so dirty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and not necessarily dirty per se, but
polluted.
Yeah, you get colorful sunsets. Some of the best are when you have smoke in the atmosphere.
Smoke.
Yeah, smoke, dust, haze. Obviously, you add in cloud cover, and there's a little bit of everything. But again, I think it's mainly because we just see more of the sky here. Yep. Rarely do you see a beautiful sunset picture from the mountains.
That's true.
Yeah, you see them on the beach.
Because of
or near a beach. Yeah,
the clarity.
Open sky.
All right, last question, Jamie. One more.
Where do you see WNBF and the weather team in the next 3 to 5 years, Kevin? Hopefully still alive. Hopefully still here. That's about all I can hope for at this point. You better still be here. I know I will be unless I get fired or die.
Yeah. Well, our news director's probably listening to this, so I hope to still be here.
Yeah, same. Oh my God, look at that. I look like Barney sitting here. Barney. Yeah, on the podcast with Barney.
The purple dinosaur. God bless.
That's how big I look right now. This is the last podcast we're ever going to do on this set.
The first and the last.
Yeah, never again.
Yeah, I mean, I plan to be here. I think if you're looking for maybe like content, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to predict that, but I would say we're still innovative.
I'd say we're still innovative. I'd say you're probably going to be seeing more of us.
Yeah.
If you can handle that.
That's kind of the industry, though.
Yeah. Yeah, more of us. I think there will be more.
We're going to be working a lot.
I think there will be more programming. I think there will be more content digitally and socially.
Yeah.
There's already some ideas floating around for that. And I think that's just kind of the way it goes.
The episode is called We're Tired, and next time we do this, it'll be We're Even More Tired.
We're more tired.
We're more tired.
Speaking of digitally.
We're exhausted.
Speaking of digitally, and before we wrap up, and let's kind of go back to how we started with Chantal. You're good at bragging and doing so without making it sound like you're bragging.
Do you want me to brag?
I do.
Okay.
Can we talk about our app?
Yeah. So if you don't have it, our first
and again, I hate.
It's cringy.
I hate it. It is cringy to say, "Oh, look at what we did."
Yeah.
But
But
a lot of hard work went into this.
because it's so, when you're local, even us, because we were texting kind of like we do, like, you know, a week leading up to an event. If this were to happen, what do we do? The problem with this system is it's not a hurricane,
Right.
and it's coming in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Had this be 7 a.m. landfall,
Yeah.
we'd probably have
Yeah.
you out there, me
Right.
out there, us in studio, Jace out there, I don't know. So we were kind of shooting back and forth texting, and we were actually at 4th of July talking about like, hey, we probably need to like still be around and have the presence, but like it's not wall to wall.
Right.
So let's use this to be like big on digital, which we do already for social.
Yeah.
But I think this is the first, at least in my eyes, because most of the time once a hurricane hits, we're wall to wall so much that the app is only when we get time.
Kind of falls.
It does.
Right.
Because we're on air.
Yeah.
Which we'll have to look into, maybe even just people pushing
Yeah.
updates out. But anyway, so we did, I would say app updates every 2 hours, 3
Pretty
hours.
much 2 or 3 hours. Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
and it, part of me at one point, I think Saturday night with Matt Bullock was here. I was like, how can we change this up? How can we make these feel different? But I also didn't feel like, oh, it's too much because it's the 4th of July weekend.
Right.
When I tell you we sent, I don't know, 30, 35 app updates, pushes out. We got those preliminary numbers back. One of the best weeks on our First Alert Weather app we've probably ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't know if, you know, that's the new format and the new model, but there was video specifically on tornado threat, wind and surge, rain. Not only that, but the numbers that we had on the First Alert Lives that we did, which always do great, especially we did that in the winter.
Yeah.
It was reassuring to know that people are tuning in to get that first alert, and then to see it after the fact. Every single top 10 video was Tropics.
Yeah. And more people are now using the weather app
Than ever before.
than our news app.
Correct.
I'm saying that quietly because I don't want to tick them off.
Yeah. We had more people, I think, for the first time ever
Yeah.
on the First Alert Weather app
Than the news app.
than the news app.
Yeah.
Because typically, if it's a hurricane that's big enough, we're tweeting or we're posting power outages
Right.
on the news app.
Yeah.
We're posting. So but with this, the news app kind of just took a little bit of a backseat. We still tweeted and posted
Yeah.
like landfall.
Because it was primarily a weather event.
Correct.
It didn't get to the point where there were closures and
Correct.
major power outages. It was just kind of a weather event that we obviously knew people wanted to keep up with, and
Yeah.
and that we wanted to get the word out because, like Texas, it was the 4th of July weekend, and people may not have been paying attention.
Yeah.
I had a couple people message me, like, "Hey, I'm coming down," or "I just got here. I had no idea there was going to be a tropical storm tonight." Like, you know, people are living their lives and doing their holiday thing.
Well, and I'll say this really quiet because we do have certain people in the room. I was out shopping at Sam's because I like to go to Sam's for my little
Of course.
bulk up, whatever. I texted you, got a lot of compliments on our social media
Yeah.
coverage. We were posting a lot
Yeah.
between you, me, Jenna, Jace, Matt, like
Right. There's a lot going on.
kudos.
Yeah.
But I had someone stop me and was like, hey, it's our first tropical storm. Where do, like, what's y'all's coverage? Because they were just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Obviously, I remember my first system. I'm
Right.
like, oh, do we need to evacuate, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you know, follow us. And I literally sat there with them and they were following the team.
Yeah.
It was this older couple. And I was like, we'll post on Facebook, but if you're not good on social media, type in WNBF First Alert Weather.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay. I was like, you can delete it on
Right.
Tuesday if you want.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a download.
Yeah.
And I will say that anytime the weather's impactful, it still shows up.
Yeah.
If you need space,
It's okay. Yeah.
we get it.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I would love to, if they even hear this or I don't know, most people when they download it, they tell me they love it because they don't have to go searching
Yes.
for the forecast.
Yes.
It goes straight to the palm of your hand.
Yep.
Every morning I send one out, you send some out in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We try not to be overpowering with it,
Right.
but
Because we don't want to, I know some days I want to throw my phone off the end of a pier from
same.
notifications. So,
Same.
finding that balance. But obviously I think we found it over the weekend.
Especially with
So-
Chantal.
So a little pat on our back.
Yeah. A humble brag, if you will.
Yeah, humble brag.
That does it for episode 77. You got anything
Episode
else you want to say?
77.
Does it for the set as well.
Bid farewell to this setup. We will see what we come up with next time.
What if
Because this isn't it.
What if season 4 is just us changing the
This-
look every time?
Right, every time. This is not it.
I do like this couch.
Yeah.
Sarah and I,
Both of the couches are great. Just
Sarah
not this
and I
angle.
stole this couch from someone's office.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
Yeah,
I don't
So-
think they know it's missing.
that's all right. They're not missing it now. They're not going to.
So all right, we'll be
All right.
back.
Yeah, we'll be back in maybe
Not next week, because maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
That'd be
Maybe
fun.
you're gone next week. Maybe we have a fill-in guest host. I think that could be fun.
If you do, my
Yeah.
only request is you still talk to said guest host about weather like it's me,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and just confuse them.
yeah, absolutely.
You know how fun that would be.
Yeah.
So tell
Yeah.
me about that convective available
Right.
potential energy.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see you all next week potentially.
And if not, then the week after. And at either point, we're going to have a new set. So enjoy this one because you're not going to see it again.